Hey guys, I'm Combat Craig, and today we're talking about increasing VA disability rating. So with increases, these are for conditions that are already rated, but you have a low rating. So your condition got worse, your symptoms are worse, and now you're seeking an increase, and you need to prove it and win it and all that kind of good stuff. When you go this route and you're looking for increases and you see lots of zeros and 10s and 20s, not everything goes up to 100. So a lot of these have a cap on them. So it's good to look at the rating criteria for each one of your rated disabilities so you know how much higher you have to go. If you have a 10% rating for something that doesn't go higher than 10%, you don't need to focus on that one because you're already maxed out. Also, if you are going after something that's 10% that you may get a 20, you might want to think twice about going after that one, but I'll show you some examples, and those are mainly orthopedic conditions. We're mainly focused on disability ratings that are low, that have room to go higher. And if you have the symptoms to go along with it, and there's a couple examples here. There's a 0 that could probably go up to 50, and there's a 30 that could probably go up to 70. So big moves, right? When we need to prove this stuff. A lot of times we don't have the evidence in our VA medical records. We didn't know VA doctors don't actually write down the right stuff, and we might need to go get a private medical opinion. If you need one of those, there's an email address in the description. We have a rating, so we don't need a nexus or a diagnosis. We just need a doctor to fill out an independent medical opinion or a disability benefits questionnaire showing in his medical opinion why your symptoms are worse and you deserve a higher rating. VA claims are all about strategy. I preach and I teach strategy in my boot camp. Check it out at combatcraig.com. Links in the description. I'm going to hop around here a little bit, but I want to kind of talk about some major points. So what is the max VA disability rating for your knees? So your knees can have 3 separate ratings in each knee. Limitation of flexion, limitation of extension, and instability. So as knees are an orthopedic condition, they're obviously, impacted by our service and life and all that kind of stuff. You may have a 10% or a 20% rating for your knee, but you may also be lowballed. You may deserve, a 10, and a 20 in your left knee, and you can connect your right knee to your left knee and get 3 more ratings over there. So go in and study the rating criteria for your knees, because the max rating for the knee is 60% in each leg. And then when you have both legs connected, you're going to get the bilateral factor as well, which will give you a little bit more of a boost. I'm going to be focusing on the disabilities that get the highest VA disability rating in this example. So in this one, it's pes planus. Right now, it's 0%. Pes planus is flat feet. And then the second one is mental health, PTSD. Mental health is all rated under one condition. A 30% mental health rating is low, and I think that one could go up to 70. So we start off with bilateral pes planus at 0%. Definitely worth pursuing. Left ankle strain at 10%. That one's probably fine. Right lower extremity radiculopathy, not service connected. We're not even going to focus on not service connected. Tinnitus at 10%. There's only one rating for tinnitus. It maxes out at 10%, whether you have it in one ear or both ears. So you're good. You're maxed out there. Moving on to the next one. We have right elbow, post-surgery, not service connected. We're not focusing on not service connected. Right hip strain, 10%. Probably a fair rating. Might be worth looking at. I'm not going to be focusing on it. Right upper extremity radiculopathy, 20%. That's a solid rating for radiculopathy. Right knee strain, 10%. This one might be worth looking at. I'm not going to look at it today. Like I said, there's 3 different ratings for your knee. This obviously looks like one rating for the knee. It might be a low rating for the knee. So if you have a rating for your knee, you might want to look into it and see which one, get your VA claims file and go look at what the rating actually is. If you only have a rating for extension and you also have issues with flexion and instability, this might be worth pursuing or going after. And then obviously if it's in your other knee as well, that might be a secondary claim, but we're going to leave this one the way it is right now. We have a lumbosacral strain at 20%. That's a good rating for the back. If we go down, we have a 20% rating for cervical strain, which is your neck, part of the back. And then also a 20% rating for the lumbosacral strain, which is your lower back. So this is basically two different back ratings. So 20 and 20, right? 40% for your back is a good rating. There might be some room to move here, but I think this is probably fair based on what I know about how the VA rates the back. Left fourth finger fracture. So like you have 0%. So if you fractured your finger, I've broken fingers. You break them, they heal, no longer a disability, it's healed. So you're not going to get a rating for that. Right elbow scar. I have a right elbow scar. It's tiny. I have scars all over my body. Typically, those come in at 0%, so that's a fair rating. If you have a gigantic scar and they didn't catch it, that might be worth going after. But generally, scars and healed broken bones aren't worth pursuing. They just don't pay for them. We have left knee strain to go along with the right knee strain, so he already has the bilateral factor going on in his knees. Again, look at the, different, do you have all three ratings? Do you have all three conditions? That's what I would look at in this particular case with these knee ratings. Left hip strain at 10%, that's probably fair. Left upper extremity radiculopathy, that's 20%. That also pairs in with the right upper extremity radiculopathy. So he has the bilateral factor at his knees and bilateral factor above his waist. So he has multiple bilateral factors, below the waist, above the waist. So left and right knee, and then right and left arm. Then we have PTSD, mental health rating at 30%. This has room to improve. And then there's a lower left extremity radiculopathy, 10%. That's probably a secondary, even though it doesn't say secondary, is probably a different rating for the back, because this veteran has a pretty bad back. So let's take a look at increasing the pes planus and what's involved with that, and then the mental health. So the pes planus stands for flat feet, aka pes planus is rated under diagnostic code 5276, flat foot acquired. This is a 0% VA disability rating. So this means the symptoms are mild, and you haven't even attempted to use arch supports. So if we take a look at 5276 flat foot acquired and look at the different ratings, you have 50, 30, 30, 20, 10, and 0. So basically it's mild, moderate, severe, and then you have different ratings if you have it in one or both feet. And obviously you can see it makes a difference. So 0 means mild, symptoms relieved by built-up shoe or arch support. So this is one of the things about whatever the foot condition is, they're going to give you arch support. So if they don't work, you need to tell them that they work. If you get arch supports and, you're kind of make an off-the-cuff thing, is it better? And you can't really tell. You're like, yeah, it's a little better. They're going to write that down and say better. So if it's not better, tell them it's not better. I wear arch supports, and it does help, but it doesn't make it better, if that makes sense. So on this one, you want to, what other foot conditions do you have? You have flat feet. What else do you have? Do you have plantar fasciitis as well? Go to a podiatrist and get all of your feet checked out, all the different things. I have like 4 conditions in my left foot and a couple in my right foot. And I got them all service connected and secondaried up and a 50% rating. So it's a good solid rating. That's my situation. I don't know what yours is. I just know what happened to our feet and what happens in life, right? So check it out and make sure that you're rated properly. 0% is low. For sure there's room to run here. The second one is the mental health rating. So it's 30%. So if we look at the law, it's all based on social and occupational impairment. It's not how many diagnostic codes you have for mental health. I have 5 of them, but how does it affect my social and my work life? A 30% rating is occupational and social impairment with occasional decrease in work efficiency. So you have occasional problems at work and or in your social life. And you have intermittent periods of inability to work. This one doesn't even really make sense to me. I get it because they like the lowballing, but you either have problems at work or at home, period, and they're usually pretty bad. Mild probably means you're not talking about your symptoms. So the next one up is a 50% rating, and that's occupational and social impairment with reduced reliability and productivity due to such symptoms as, and then they list out symptoms. So this is reduced reliability versus occasional decrease. We're going for the 70% rating because that's the fair mental health rating. Once we take an inventory of what we're really like, divorces, what we're like at work, how much we struggle going to work, road raging on the way to work, road raging in the office, whatever it is. So 70% rating is occupational and social impairment with deficiencies in most areas. And it all comes down to the wording. So basically deficiencies in most areas, right? Like most areas of my work and social life have problems. I have symptoms in the total and social occupational impairment, 100% rating, but 70% fits me. I can't function. I've been fired from every job. I can't stay in a relationship. I've been divorced a couple times. So that fits me. So this depends on, how real you are being with your symptoms. If you're not, that's a good place to start. Ask the wife, ask the kids, ask whoever is close to you. They'll tell you some of the weird stuff that you do that most normal people don't do. And once you get real with yourself, then you need to go tell that to a doctor. And then you need to go get a current diagnosis of a condition. You need to get your symptoms noted, and then you're going to need a nexus linking it to something. And then you're going to need to go sell that to a C&P examiner. So I wanted to give you some, different ideas here based off of one rating. There's a lot of ways to go, and, more power to you. This is what I would do. These are the ratings that I would go after if I had a 90% VA rating, because he needs a certain amount of points, probably 6 or 7, to get to 100%. Each point at 90% is worth 1. So if we add in 50, go from 0 to 50, that's 5 points for the flat feet. And if we go from 30 to 70 for the mental health, that's another 4 points. So that'll get him into the Hundo Club. I'll see you in the next video.